When we talk about patience, most people think of waiting. They think of sitting still, doing nothing, and simply letting time pass. That's not patience. That's inactivity. Patience is not about idleness. It's about discipline. It's the deliberate choice to hold your ground in the face of pressure, to resist the urge for premature action, and to endure discomfort without fleeing into quick fixes. In a world that's constantly urging you to move faster, to produce results now, patience is almost an act of rebellion. We're surrounded by a culture that glorifies instant gratification. Fast food, one-click purchases, viral fame. People want to start a business and get rich in a month, go to the gym and see transformation in a week, post online and have 1 million followers by morning. We're being conditioned to expect life to yield instantly to our desires. And when it doesn't, frustration sets in, and we abandon the path before it ever had a chance to bear fruit. This is where patience separates those who create something lasting from those who never move beyond short bursts of effort. Patience is the strength to stay the course, even when there's no immediate reward in sight. It's easy to keep going when you can see visible progress, but the real test is whether you can keep going when progress is invisible, or worse, when it feels like you're moving backward. Think about it. Every meaningful pursuit in life has a gestation period. You don't plant a seed and get a tree overnight. There's an entire unseen process, underground roots spreading, systems strengthening, the very foundation of the tree being formed. That process isn't just important, it's essential. Without it, the tree would be weak, unable to bear fruit or withstand storms. But here's the catch: the early stages look like nothing is happening. And that's when most people quit. Impatience is seductive because it disguises itself as ambition. It tells you you're not moving fast enough. You should be further ahead by now. It makes you believe that speed is synonymous with success, but speed without direction is chaos. Rushing the process is how you build something shallow, something fragile. You might achieve a quick win, but it will collapse under the weight of real life because you didn't give it time to develop its structural integrity. Patience, on the other hand, is deeply tied to wisdom. It requires you to accept that the world operates on timelines you cannot always control. It demands humility, because it forces you to confront the truth that you are not the master of every outcome. That's hard for people to accept, especially in a time where we're told to manifest anything we want as quickly as possible. Patience says, you can shape your life, but you cannot dictate the speed at which it unfolds. And here's the deeper truth. Patience is not passive waiting, it's active preparation. While you wait, you're not sitting still. You're refining your skills, strengthening your mind, deepening your understanding, aligning your resources. You're putting yourself in the best possible position so that when the moment arrives, you're not scrambling, you're ready. The waiting period is not wasted time, it's formative time. If you look at anyone who's truly great at what they do, whether it's an athlete, an artist, a thinker, or a leader, you'll find a common pattern. They all went through long stretches of invisible work. Hours, months, years of showing up when nobody was watching, when the results were minimal, when it felt like nothing was changing. That's where greatness is forged, in the quiet repetition of disciplined effort, long before the applause comes. But patience isn't just about enduring time. It's also about mastering your emotions during that time. Waiting without frustration, without resentment, without anxiety is a skill. It's easy to wait while calm when you believe the reward is certain. But real patience is tested when there is uncertainty, when you don't know if the thing you're working toward will pay off. Can you still persist when the outcome is unclear? That's where patience becomes a form of courage. One of the greatest mistakes people make is assuming that faster is always better. But some things, by their very nature, only become good through time. You can't rush trust in a relationship. You can't speed up the maturation of wisdom. You can't force mastery. You can only earn it through accumulated effort. Impatience will have you snatching at half-baked opportunities, chasing every shortcut, and ultimately sabotaging yourself. So, patience is not a matter of simply waiting. It's the strength to carry on without being swayed by the false urgency that surrounds you. It's the courage to ignore the constant comparison, to those who seem to be moving faster. It's the quiet confidence that your pace is your own, and that you're building something meant to last. When you're impatient, you trade depth for speed. When you're patient, you trade immediate gratification for enduring achievement. And that's a trade worth making, because the things that come quickly tend to vanish just as quickly. The things that take time to build, those are the things that last, because they've been tested, refined, and strengthened through the process of time itself. Patience is not for the faint-hearted. It's for those who have the courage to endure the slow burn of progress, the discomfort of delay, and the discipline of staying the course when everything around them screams for them to rush. And here's the paradox: when you embrace patience, you often get where you're going faster, not because the timeline changes, but because you stop wasting energy on panic, shortcuts, and constant redirection. You commit, you focus, you let the process work. And in doing so, you actually accelerate your growth. If you want something that will outlast you, whether it's a career, a relationship, a body of work, or a legacy, you must accept that it will take time. And you must be willing to carry that time without resentment, without rushing, without abandoning the path at the first sign of stagnation. That is patience, and that is strength. So the next time you feel the urge to rush, remind yourself of this: anything worth having will demand proof that you can wait for it. The proof isn't in your words, it's in your endurance. The strongest people in the world are not always the fastest movers. They're the ones who know how to hold their position, keep their vision steady, and wait without losing faith in the process. Patience is not the absence of action. It is the art of controlled action over time. And the sooner you master it, the sooner you'll realize that time is not your enemy. It's your greatest ally. One of the great challenges in life is recognizing that the most significant growth often happens long before it becomes visible to the outside world. We're conditioned to measure progress by what we can see, by obvious milestones, by tangible outcomes. But reality doesn't work that way. The truth is, by the time you see visible results, the real work has already been done, quietly and visibly, often in ways no one could recognize from the surface. It's like the roots of a tree. Nobody stands around celebrating the months or years when a seed is quietly building its root system underground. Yet that hidden work is what allows the tree to stand for decades, even centuries. Without it, the first strong wind would tear it from the soil. In life, your roots are formed during those seasons where nothing seems to be happening. When you're showing up day after day, putting in effort that no one applauds, preparing for something you can't yet see. This is why patience is so deeply connected to trust. You have to trust the process when there's no evidence yet that it's working. And that's uncomfortable. Our brains are wired to seek immediate feedback. We want to see proof that our actions are producing results. But in most areas of life, the cause and effect relationship is delayed. You're building strength in the gym long before it shows in the mirror. You're acquiring knowledge long before it translates into success. You're developing resilience long before you're placed in situations that require it. The danger is that, because we can't see the growth, we assume there is none. That's the trap impatience lays for us. It whispers, "This isn't working. Move on, change direction, try something else." And so people quit in the very season when the most important transformations are taking place beneath the surface. What's even more challenging is that invisible growth often looks like failure. You might be struggling, facing setbacks, feeling like you're not getting anywhere. But those are often the exact conditions that build the very qualities you'll need later. Discipline, adaptability, emotional control. The mind is shaped most in the seasons where you must keep going without reward, where you must keep believing without reassurance. Think of a student studying a new language. For months, it feels like they're just memorizing words and stumbling through awkward sentences. Progress is painfully slow, almost imperceptible. But then, one day, something clicks, the words come more easily, comprehension deepens and conversations flow. That sudden improvement wasn't sudden at all. It was the product of countless unseen adjustments in the brain built over time. We live in an age that celebrates the highlight reel and ignores the rehearsal. You see the championship trophy, not the years of unnoticed practice. You see the best-selling book, not the hundreds of discarded drafts. You see the overnight success, not the decade of grinding and obscurity. The danger of this selective vision is that it distorts our expectations. We think we're failing when we're actually just in the unseen phase of growth. And this unseen growth is not just a matter of skills and achievements. It's also about identity. The waiting periods in life shape who you become. They refine your character, test your convictions, and strip away illusions. You learn what you can endure. You learn where your limits actually are and how to push them. You learn to operate without external validation, which is one of the most liberating and empowering skills a person can have. But here's the paradox: invisible growth feels slow, but it's often the fastest way to truly become ready for what you want. The alternative, chasing quick results, creates shallow competence. You might get the position, the recognition, the reward, but you won't have the depth to sustain it. And when you inevitably face challenges, you'll crumble because you never develop the internal framework to hold it together. There's also a psychological principle at play here, the compounding effect. Just like compound interest in finance, small, consistent actions in personal growth produce exponential results over time. But the compounding doesn't look impressive at the start. In the early stages, the line is flat, almost discouragingly so. Only later does it curve sharply upward. That's why so few people experience true transformation. They abandon the process before the compounding takes effect. If you want to succeed in any meaningful way, you have to learn to value the invisible stages as much as the visible ones. That means shifting your metrics for progress. Instead of asking, "What do I have to show for my effort today?" you start asking, "What am I building within myself that will pay off tomorrow, next year, or even a decade from now?" And here's where the philosophical dimension comes in. Life is not just about getting somewhere. It's about becoming someone. The invisible seasons are where the becoming happens. They're the forge where your values, your work ethic, your emotional stability, and your problem-solving skills are formed. And once those are in place, you can step into almost any opportunity and thrive. So instead of resenting the time it takes, you start to see it as the price of authenticity. You're not just acquiring outcomes, you're earning the right to keep them. And when you finally do step into the visible stage, you'll carry a strength and stability that no shortcut could have provided. If you find yourself in a season where it feels like nothing is happening, I'd argue that more is happening than you realize. You're not just waiting, you're preparing. You're not just stuck, you're solidifying your foundation. Every skill you practice, every challenge you overcome, every frustration you navigate without quitting, that's growth. You can't always see it, but you can feel it if you pay attention. And when the results finally arrive, they'll seem to come all at once. People will say, "You're lucky," or "You just took off." They'll see the fruit, but they won't know about the years you spent tending the roots. They won't understand that the sudden breakthrough was simply the visible moment of a process that had been happening all along. So if you take one thing from this, let it be this: don't underestimate what's happening in the unseen. The fact that you can't measure it doesn't mean it's not real. The fact that it's quiet doesn't mean it's not powerful. When you honor the invisible work, you build something that not only stands but grows stronger over time. You're not chasing fragile success, you're cultivating enduring strength. And that's worth every moment of waiting. Because in the end, the roots will always determine the height of the tree. If something is truly valuable, life will almost always require that you wait for it. And not just wait passively, but wait in a way that proves you are worthy of having it. This is what people often miss about delayed gratification. It isn't simply about putting off pleasure. It's about undergoing a process of transformation that ensures you can handle what you're asking for when it arrives. If you receive something too soon, before you've grown into the kind of person who can manage it, the very thing you thought would be a blessing can become a curse. We've all seen this play out. Someone comes into money too quickly, and it destroys them. Someone gets a position of authority before they've learned self-control, and they abuse it. Someone achieves fame before they've developed the emotional resilience to handle criticism, and they collapse under the weight of public scrutiny. Delayed gratification is the world's way of making sure you're prepared. It's not a punishment, it's a filtering process. The waiting period is where the weak intentions fade, where the half-hearted lose interest, and where only those with genuine commitment remain. It's life's way of asking, how much do you really want this? Are you willing to endure the discomfort, the uncertainty, and the long, slow road to get it? The truth is, wanting something is easy. Wanting something enough to wait for it, enough to work for it without an immediate reward, that's rare. And it's that rarity that makes delayed gratification such a powerful test of character. It forces you to not only desire the goal, but also to become someone who is capable of sustaining it. There's a reason why the most enduring successes, whether in business, art, relationships, or personal growth, are built on a foundation of patience and preparation. The waiting period refines you. It exposes your weaknesses, forces you to address them, and compels you to strengthen the parts of yourself that would otherwise remain fragile. It teaches you discipline because you can't just sprint toward the finish line. You have to pace yourself for the long run. Psychologically, delayed gratification rewires the brain. When you choose to forego an immediate reward for a larger future one, you strengthen the neural pathways associated with self-control, long-term planning, and resilience. This isn't just theory. It's been shown repeatedly in research. People who can delay gratification are statistically more likely to achieve higher levels of success, maintain healthier relationships, and handle stress more effectively. Not because they're lucky, but because they've learned how to master themselves. And self-mastery is what delayed gratification is ultimately about. If you cannot control your impulses, you will always be at the mercy of your circumstances. You will chase what feels good in the moment, even if it sabotages your long-term happiness. But if you can control your impulses, if you can choose the long-term reward over the short-term hit, you are free. You're no longer a prisoner of your cravings, your insecurities, or the pressure to keep up with others. The other benefit of delayed gratification is that it clarifies what is truly worth having. When you have to work for something over time, you either find that your desire for it deepens or it fades. If it fades, that's valuable information. It means it wasn't as important to you as you thought. If it deepens, you have confirmation that this is a goal worth pursuing with everything you have. The waiting period is a sorting mechanism. It separates shallow desires from genuine purpose. Think of it like refining metal. Raw ore is messy, filled with impurities. It has to be put through intense heat to become strong, valuable steel. The heat doesn't destroy it, it transforms it. The same is true for you. The heat of waiting, of delaying gratification, burns away impatience, entitlement, and illusion. It leaves behind a version of you that is leaner, sharper, and more capable. This is why shortcuts are dangerous. You might bypass the waiting period and get what you want faster, but you'll arrive unprepared. An unprepared success is worse than failure because it creates the illusion that you're ready when you're not. It's like being handed a sword you haven't learned to wield. It will eventually harm you. We have to remember, life is not simply about getting what we want. It's about becoming the person who can responsibly handle what we want. The process of delayed gratification is what aligns those two realities. Without it, you're left with an achievement you can't sustain. With it, you're equipped not just to receive, but to preserve, to grow, and to use what you've been given wisely. That's why so many of the things worth having, deep trust in a relationship, mastery of a craft, a stable and meaningful career, require years of investment. They need proof that you're committed, proof that you won't abandon them when they become difficult, proof that you understand their value. And the proof is always in your willingness to wait, to work, and to endure. You might not like the timeline. You might want it sooner. You might even think you're ready right now. But readiness isn't determined by your feelings. It's determined by your demonstrated ability to persist through the delay without losing focus. The moment you start treating the waiting period as part of the journey instead of an obstacle, everything changes. You stop asking, "When will I get there?" and start asking, How can I grow stronger while I wait? And that shift in mindset is powerful. Because when the opportunity finally arrives, you're not scrambling to rise to the occasion. You've already risen. You've become the kind of person who can handle it. So when life makes you wait, don't just count the days. Make the days count. Build yourself during that time. Strengthen your skills. Sharpen your mind. Refine your discipline. Because when the thing you've been waiting for finally appears, you'll be ready not only to receive it, but to keep it, protect it, and multiply it. And here's the final truth. If you can learn to delay gratification, you can achieve almost anything you set your mind to. Because the ability to wait, to endure, and to prepare in the meantime is the foundation of every lasting success. So the next time you find yourself frustrated by the delay, remind yourself it's not punishment, it's preparation. It's the universe's way of asking you to prove you're worthy of the very thing you're chasing. If you quit, you prove you weren't ready. If you persist, you prove you are. And when that moment comes, you'll take hold of your goal with the confidence of someone who knows they've earned it. Not by rushing, but by enduring. Because in the end, what you get quickly can be taken quickly. But what you earn through patience and persistence becomes yours to keep. And that is the kind of victory worth waiting for. If you think about it, the things in life that are truly worth having almost never come easily. They have a built-in barrier of entry, a price you have to pay before you can hold them. That price is often time, effort, and the willingness to live with uncertainty. People call it delayed gratification, but really, it's a proving ground. It's life's way of saying, show me you can handle this before I hand it over to you. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people fail the test. Not because they lack talent, not because they lack opportunity, but because they can't endure the waiting. They can't stand being in that in-between space where the work is being done, but the reward hasn't arrived. So they give up. They switch directions. They settle for something smaller. But the waiting isn't meaningless. It's not dead time. It's where the deep work is done, where you're being shaped into the kind of person who can hold on to what you're asking for. Without that transformation, the thing you want will slip through your hands as quickly as it came. We've all seen examples. The young athlete who gets drafted too early, before their discipline matches their talent, they burn out. The entrepreneur who hits sudden success without the financial discipline to manage it, they go broke. The person who falls into a relationship before they've developed the emotional stability to sustain it, they sabotage it. When you get something before you're ready, it doesn't just fail to satisfy you, it can destroy you. That's why the delay is not cruelty, it's protection. Life withholds certain things until you've proven you can handle them, because if it gave them to you prematurely, they might do more harm than good. But proving yourself worthy isn't about grand gestures, it's about consistency. It's about what you do in the days, weeks, and years when there's no visible payoff. Can you still show up when nobody's watching? Can you stay committed when your friends are moving ahead faster than you? Can you maintain your standards when cutting corners could get you there sooner? These are the questions the waiting period is designed to answer. The irony is that while we think we're waiting for the goal is actually waiting for us. It's waiting for us to grow into someone who can meet it on equal terms. And that's the beauty of delayed gratification. It's a double investment. You're not only moving toward the thing you want, you're also becoming the person who can hold it, manage it, and even multiply it when it arrives. And make no mistake, delayed gratification is a skill. Like any skill, it can be developed. It starts small, choosing not to buy something now so you can save for something better later. Resisting the urge to take an easy option so you can pursue a harder but more rewarding path. Over time, those choices add up, and you build a kind of psychological muscle that allows you to endure longer periods without immediate reward. That muscle, self-control, is one of the greatest predictors of success in every area of life. There's research that backs this up. The famous marshmallow experiment tracked children who could delay eating a marshmallow for a larger reward later. Decades later, those same children were more likely to have higher levels of achievement, better health, and greater life satisfaction. Why? Because they'd learned the discipline of waiting, of controlling their impulses in the service of a bigger outcome. The marshmallow was never just a marshmallow. It was a mirror, reflecting their ability to master themselves. And that's really the heart of this. Delayed gratification is about self-mastery. If you can control your impulses, you're free. If you can't, you're a slave to desire, to distraction, to whatever happens to feel good in the moment. Without self-mastery, your life is a series of reactions, not intentional actions. With it, you become the architect of your own future. The other hidden gift of delayed gratification is clarity. The longer you wait for something, the clearer you become about whether you truly want it. That's why the waiting period is so revealing. Shallow desires fade over time, but meaningful ones grow stronger. If your motivation dissolves after a few months, maybe it wasn't your real calling. But if it burns brighter, if it deepens despite the delay, then you've found something worth structuring your life around. It's no accident that the most meaningful human achievements are built over decades. Cathedrals took generations to complete. Mastery of an art or craft can take half a lifetime. Deep trust in a marriage can take decades of shared experiences. These aren't things you can rush without destroying their very essence. They require time to take root, to grow strong enough to withstand the storms. The problem is that we live in a culture that rewards the opposite. We praise the overnight success, the viral sensation, the quick win. And while those moments can be exciting, they're rarely sustainable. They're the flash fire that burns bright and fast, leaving nothing but ash. The kind of fire that keeps you warm for years is the one built slowly, layer upon layer, with patience and care. So the challenge is to resist the cultural pressure to have everything now, and instead embrace the discipline of waiting. This doesn't mean sitting still. It means working diligently in the meantime, preparing yourself so thoroughly that when the opportunity finally arrives, you step into it ready. You don't fumble. You don't collapse under the weight of it. You carry it because you've trained to carry it. That's the point of all this. Delayed gratification is not just about getting the thing. It's about becoming the person. It's about the transformation you undergo in the process, the resilience you build, the wisdom you accumulate, the strength you gain. These things don't just help you achieve the goal, they help you keep it. So if you're in that place right now, where you've been working for something that still hasn't materialized, I want you to hear this clearly. The delay is part of the design. It's testing you. It's refining you. It's asking you to prove, not to anyone else, but to yourself, that you can stay the course without losing faith. Because when it finally comes, you won't just be glad you waited. You'll be grateful for the person you became while you waited. And that person will be the reason the success lasts, instead of slipping through your fingers like so many quick wins do. So remember this: the waiting is not wasted. The delay is not denial. It's the proving ground that turns a fleeting opportunity into a lasting legacy. And if you can master that, if you can endure, persist, and grow through the delay, you'll not only get what you've been chasing, you'll be the kind of person who can hold it for a lifetime.